Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Colin. My gamer tag, though, is Colo Wallow. If you're a current subscriber, you probably know me from my gaming days. Um, and if you're, someone new watching this video, I'm some random dude on the internet. And just a little bit little bit of backstory about me. In high school, and even in the start of middle school, I got really obese. I was close to 300 pounds, and I left for college about 4 years ago, and I decided that I wanted to lose weight and I wanted to get my life back on track and I wanted to get in shape. So I did. And I have friends ask me all the time tips for losing weight or how to, or just they want to learn from me because I have lost weight. And so I thought I'd make a video so I can just send this video to them anytime they ask me, or if anyone else on the internet on YouTube stumbles across this video who is facing similar struggles, maybe this video will help one of you guys also. So before I get into it, two things. I just want to say I'm not a licensed nutritionist. I'm not certified. However, I have years of experience and the results to prove it. So just want to put that out there. Take my word for what you want. You can either trust me or not trust me. It's totally up to you. And the second thing is, if you're someone who is overweight right now and you are serious about it and you really want to lose weight, I encourage you to take the time during this video to put yourself in a place of mind where you're not distracted, you're not scrolling reels, where you can give this video your full attention, maybe even take notes, and just try to learn everything you can from it. So yeah, so this is going to be a longer yap sesh, but if you think this video might be helpful, stick in for the ride. All right, so I have, I think, 25 to 30 bullet points of things I want to go through, and I'll have them pop up on the screen as I talk about them. But the first thing I want to talk about is, before you can even start to lose weight, you have to understand what the three macronutrients are, right? There's protein, carbs, and fats. On a basic level, proteins are 4 calories per gram, carbohydrates are also 4 calories per gram, and fats are 9 calories per gram. So they're the highest in calories out of all three macronutrients. I'm not going to go into the science about how each of the three macronutrients work, because, like I said, I'm not a licensed nutritionist. However, just a quick description of what I would say how they work. Protein is going to make you feel really full, and it's also going to help you build muscle. I would say those are the two primary functions of it. Carbohydrates are going to give you that quick bursting energy, and they're going to give you energy, basically what I would say, but more in the temporary term. And I would say fats, they do a lot of things, but they really give you that long lasting energy throughout your day, so you don't feel so sluggish all the time. So now that we've gone over the three macronutrients, going into my second tip, you have to understand what your maintenance calorie levels are and how to eat in a calorie surplus and a calorie deficit. So odds are, if you're overweight, you're going to want to be eating in a calorie deficit. Now, what does that mean? First, we have to talk about what your maintenance level of calories are. So your maintenance level of calories is how many calories you need to eat on a regular basis to stay the same weight, right? So if I'm 180 pounds and I want to stay 180 pounds, I need to find out what my maintenance level is to stay 180 pounds. Now, let's say I'm 120 pounds and I need to gain weight. I need to figure out how many calories over my maintenance I need to eat in order to gain weight. And getting into the theme of this video, talking about how to lose weight, a calorie deficit, how many calories under my maintenance level of calories do I need to eat at to lose weight? And there's, feel free to leave in the comments if you guys can think of any more, but there's really 3 ways of learning this that I could tell you, and they're each helpful in different ways. Firstly, you can use a calorie calculator. I'll put the link on the screen and in the bio of a basic calorie calculator, and This isn't the most accurate. It's not going to tell you exactly the level of calories you need to be eating at to lose weight, because it doesn't know your body and it doesn't know how much energy you actually burn throughout the day. It doesn't know your exact metrics. But what it can do is give you a rough idea of where you can start, right? So it's not the most trustworthy, but it is a good rough estimate. The second thing you can do is you can go to a doctor or a nutritionist and you can actually have them find out for you what your calorie level is. However, this obviously requires the most work and money, and so it's not really realistic for most people to do. So, my recommendation is use that calorie calculator, find a rough estimate of a calorie level you think a calorie deficit level you think you should be eating at under your maintenance, and then try it for a month and a half, 6 weeks, and see how much weight you've lost and how different your body looks. And also see how hungry you are. Like if you find yourself like, wow, I'm not hungry at all, right? And but I haven't lost that much weight. Well, maybe you can go down a little bit. And on the flip side of things, if you're like, wow, I'm losing so much weight, but I'm starving all the time, well, it's probably going to not be the most consistent level for you to eat at. So you're probably going to want to eat a little bit more food, right? A little bit more calories. So that's my recommendation, is kind of test it out for yourself. Use that calorie calculator. Don't take it as a given, but take it as a good rough estimate. Or if you have the money to ball out on a doctor or nutritionist, feel free to do so. Next topic I want to get into is tracking calories. Now, do you need to track calories to lose weight? Yes and no. So I say yes and no because no, you don't need to track calories to lose weight. As long as you're eating in a calorie deficit, you don't need to track calories. But with that said, tracking your calories is going to let you measure exactly how many calories you're eating at per day, right? Because if you're just guessing, you don't actually know how many calories you're eating at. And there's a term, I forget what the exact term is, but it's basically intuitive eating, right? Intuitive eating isn't necessarily a bad thing. Intuitive eating can definitely be a good thing. However, I feel like people can't intuitively eat unless they've tracked calories before and they understand what a certain level of calories feels for their body and what different kind of foods have how many different kind of calories, right? So if you've never tracked calories before, I would highly recommend tracking calories to be able to measure how much calories you're eating at, and B, just understand how many calories is in different foods, right? You'll see like how many calories is in a slice of cake versus like 10 apples, and they're probably the same, but eating those 10 apples are going to make you way more full and way more satisfied than eating a slice of cake. I don't know if that's exact, I'm just making a guess. Next bullet point I want to get into, and this is kind of a tip for tracking calories that I have, is give yourself a range of how many calories you want to eat at. So for example, I'm on a cut right now. I just did a bulk up for about a year and I'm back on a cut. And my maintenance calorie level is around 3,400, and that's pretty high, but that's because I'm a big guy and I exercise a lot. I'm eating at I would say a pretty steep calorie deficit right now. I'm eating at about 2450 calories a day. But what I like to do is I like to give myself a range. So instead of trying to eat exactly 2450 calories a day and meet that exact number every time, what I do is I give myself a range. So I say, okay, I'm gonna eat anywhere adjusting real quick, I'm gonna eat anywhere between 2400 to 2600 calories a day. And some days you're gonna be like, man, I'm full and I don't want to eat anymore, and I'm at 2400 calories. Great, stop eating. Don't feel like you need to eat more. And some days you're gonna be like, man, I'm at 2600 calories and I'm still hungry, but that's your stop limit, where you've got to tell yourself, all right, I just need to wait till tomorrow and I can eat again tomorrow. What this calorie range also does for me is it lets me kind of track the zero calorie, or not track the 0 calorie things that I eat. For example, like coffee. Coffee's like 5-10 calories, just black coffee beans with water. Spray oil, even though it says 0 calories, it's not exactly 0 calories. That's only for a fourth of a spray. If you're doing a 1 second spray, that's probably about like 10 to 15 calories, but I just don't track it. So I give myself that range so I don't need to be super exact. So yeah, calorie range. Moving into my next point is volume eating. So this is a term that is going to be very helpful for you if you're someone who has tried to lose weight before but feels hungry all the time, right? So essentially the idea of volume eating is eating low calorie foods that are high in volume and low in calories. And what this is going to do is keep you full. Let's say I eat let's say I drink 1,000 calories worth of regular full sugar soda. I'm not going to feel full whatsoever. Maybe for like 20 minutes until the water settles, but until then, I am not going to feel full. However, if I eat foods that are big in volume and low in calories, that's going to help you feel full throughout the day. And when it comes 8 p.m., you're not going to say, man, even though I'm at my max calories, I'm starving right now. Some examples off the top of my head that I can think of high volume foods are just like vegetables, chicken breast, potatoes, big bowls of like 0 sugar Jello. Those are all foods that are high in volume and not so high in calories. So this is something you'll kind of learn as you're going through your weight loss journey, and it's something you'll develop as time goes on. All right, let me take a sip of water real quick here, guys. Sorry, I got a lot to talk about. Okay. Next topic I want to go into is sugar. And there's 2 kinds of sugar, right? There's added sugar and there's natural sugar. Not going to go into the science about it because I'm not a nutritionist, but you've probably been told your whole life that sugar is bad. And in a sense, they're not wrong, but in a sense, they're not right at all. So I think there's certain foods that are very high in natural sugars that you should eat, like grapes, bananas, apples. Those are all good foods. They provide you with a ton of fiber, a ton of nutrients, minerals, vitamins, all that stuff, right? And they're gonna make you feel full. However, foods that are not gonna make you feel full, that are extremely high in sugar, like ice cream, full sugar soda, cakes, cupcakes, brownies, all that stuff, right? Extremely high in added sugar, meaning the manufacturers of people who made these foods, they got granulated sugar and they added it to it. Now, is sugar in itself going to make you fat? No. Calories will make you fat. However, sugar, even though sugar, right, is a carbohydrate and it's only 4 calories per gram, it's so easy to just consume a lot of sugar all at once. Because it dissolves in water and it's just like so easy to consume. It's super easy to consume a ton of sugar at once, which in turn is a ton of calories. So, I'm not telling you to avoid sugar completely, but and we're going to go into this later in the video, but you're going to want to, restrict how much added sugar you're eating in your diet, and you're going to want to restrict or you're going to want to find swaps for that added sugar, like sweeteners like stevia, Splenda, monk fruit, stuff like that, right? So those are all sugar swaps that are 0 calories. All right, going into my next topic is fiber. So fiber is important. Again, not going to go into the science about how fiber works, but it's important to learn what foods are high in fiber. And try to find which of those foods you can fit into your diet, right? So some foods I wrote down: lentils, oats, beans, vegetables, fruits, chickpeas, right? Those are all foods that are high in fiber. Like I said, not going to go into the science of it, but what fiber does is it makes you feel really full, and it makes foods that are typically high in carbs a little less high in carbs. Again, not going into the science about it. You can look it up and listen to a professional if you'd like, but that's essentially what it does. And so these foods are going to make you feel really full, right? And it's important to learn what foods have fiber in it. I think the average recommended person is supposed to consume 25 to 30 grams of fiber a day. You don't want to have none in your diet because you're not going to feel as full all the time while you're trying to be in a calorie deficit. But you don't want to overeat fiber because it's going to mess with your stomach and it's going to make you go to the bathroom a whole lot, and it's not going to be a pleasant experience. So, find that balance, right? If you're like, man, I hate lentils, like lentils suck, or I hate chickpeas. Chickpeas are disgusting. That's totally fine. Like, don't eat those foods. Don't feel like you have to eat them because they're high in fiber. Find foods you do like you're like, oh, I like raspberries and blackberries and I like oats. Okay, so eat those foods. Find a way to incorporate those into your diet. Next topic I want to get into is alcohol. And I'm not going to tell you to cut out alcohol completely because that's your decision, and I drink alcohol on occasion. But alcohol has about 7 calories. I believe it's 7. Feel free to fact check me in the comments. But 7 calories per gram. But again, it's just liquid calories, right? You're just drinking a ton of calories, and it's not going to give you any satisfaction in terms of feeling satiated and full. But some people like to have a little bit of alcohol in their diet. So ideally, you cut out alcohol from your diet if you're, fully maximizing. But if that's just not a possibility for you and you like to have a drink once every few weeks, cut out the ones that are really high in sugar. So any like sugary liquor, like the one that comes to my head is like Pink Whitney, right? Sugary liquor or Malibu. And try to cut out like super high calorie beers, like for example, like what's one I can think of? There's like Coors Banquet versus Coors Light. Try to choose that Coors Light. It's going to be less in calories. But yeah, limit it and find better alternatives. I think the best bang for your buck when it comes to alcohol for calories is like plain tequila or plain vodka. So, if you are going to drink alcohol, even though I'm not recommending, by the way, just a disclaimer, this is for everyone over 21 years of age in the United States or whatever your legal, age to drink in your country is. Don't underage drink. But if you are going to, as an adult, try to find the best low calorie option. And really limit yourself. You don't want to be going crazy having 12 beers or 10 drinks at a bar or like 9 shots. Like, limit yourself. If you want to feel a little buzz and you want some alcohol every once in a while, have 2 shots of silver tequila. If you want a beer, instead of drinking a full sugar IPA or something, have a Coors Light. So yeah, but again, saying all this, you got to find a way to fit it into your calories, into your calorie deficit when you're tracking your calories. All right, next topic I want to go into is food swaps, right? And what about substitutes? And what do I mean by this? Well, any food you can think of, right, that is, maybe considered unhealthy, there's almost always a better swap for it in terms of a lower calorie option. So what I mean by this, I wrote down some examples. So ground beef, if you get 80% lean, 20% fat, swap it for 93.7 or 96.4. More protein, less fat. Yogurt, instead of getting a non-Greek, full fat, flavored with sugar yogurt, try getting non-fat plain Greek yogurt, or even just non-fat Greek yogurt flavored with, some sort of sweetener. Tortilla, instead of having flour tortillas, try like carb balanced tortillas. Instead of having full sugar soda, try zero sugar soda. Instead of having full sugar juice, try zero sugar juice. Instead of using olive oil, use an olive oil spray. It helps you, actually use a proper amount. Instead of regular ice cream, try a low calorie ice cream like Halo Top or Nix. But there's a ton of examples I can go into, and if someone requests in the comments, I can make a whole video based off just substitutions alone. But yeah, try to find these swaps. It's really gonna help. It's really gonna help in your diet. It's gonna help cut calories. One thing I want to mention, is there a great swap for everything? No. Here, and I wrote down some ones I hate and will absolutely not tolerate. Low calorie bread, I'm personally not a fan. I know a lot of other people are, but me personally, I'm not. Zero sugar candy, and the reason for this is it's usually swapped sugar with sugar alcohol, and those just basically make you rip ass like crazy. And then like some protein bars, there's very few protein bars that I like nowadays. One of them's like Bear Bell. I love Bear Bell bars. That's probably my favorite. But like the Kirkland bars, or like, I can't even think of any off the top of my head, but a lot of protein bars I just can't even stomach nowadays. So, find what swaps work for you. I refuse to swap sourdough bread for, carb balanced bread. It just tastes so bad to me. So don't feel like you need to swap everything, but find what swaps do and don't work for you. All right. Going into my next point here. This is kind of leading into my next point. You have to find what works for you. For example, let's say you're someone, a typically conventional, really healthy food is chicken breast. A lot of people tell you, eat chicken and rice if you want to lose weight. It's a common thing people say. But let's say you hate chicken breast. I cannot eat chicken breast, to save my life. I can't stomach it. I hate the taste. I hate the texture, whatever it is. That's fine. Don't feel like you need to eat certain foods just because the internet or other people are telling you to eat these certain foods. If you don't like chicken breast, that's cool. Eat chicken thighs and find a way to work it into your calorie deficit. Eat lean ground beef. Eat, bison, stuff like that. Find swaps. So yeah, find what works for you. And kind of leading into my next point is finding a balance. So, if you want to lose weight, you cannot just eat ice cream. Let's say you're trying to eat at 2,000 calories. You can't just eat 2,000 calories worth of ice cream, right? Because you're not going to feel full, and you're eventually going to have to get off your diet. But at the same time, on the flip side of things, you can't just eat chicken, broccoli, and rice for every meal. And you could, but if you eat chicken, broccoli, and rice for every meal, and try to do that for 4 months to lose weight, you're gonna find I can't stick to this for more than 2 days. I can't. I need variety. I need different foods. I need foods that taste good. So find a balance. Find a way to change up the foods you eat, and find a way to include. Let's say you really like ice cream and you hate that 0-calorie Halo Top ice cream stuff, right? And you every once in a while you want to include real ice cream in your diet. Find a way to make it work into your calories, and don't overeat. Give yourself one portion or two portions of the ice cream, and don't eat more, right? So find a balance for yourself. My next point is the 10-1 rule, and what this means is, this is something I try for, and it really helps me. So feel free to take this into your advice or don't. It's really up to you. But I try to aim for 10 grams of protein, 1 gram of protein for every 10 calories I eat, right? So if I'm eating 2,000 calories, I want to aim for around 200 grams of protein. Now, does this need to be perfect? No, it doesn't need to be anywhere perfect. But what aiming for protein does, it's going to help you build muscle if that's something you care about. We're going to go into that a little bit later in the video. And it's going to help you feel more full. It's going to, focusing on protein in your diet, going for that 10-1 rule, 10 calories to 1 gram of protein. It's going to make you feel full and not you need to, binge or anything. Just a suggestion, something that I follow, right? It's not always perfect. Like I said, I'm eating at around 2,400 calories a day, but I'm not making sure I get 240 grams of protein a day. I aim for 210 to 230, and that's okay, right? Next point I want to get into, and these kind of go hand in hand, the next 2 points, is cardio. So I highly recommend including cardio into your daily routine if weight loss is something you're serious about. Some examples I've included written down are Stairmaster, treadmill, just going for a walk, playing sports like basketball or soccer or softball, and going for hikes. This is going to keep your body active. It's going to keep you in shape. It's going to help with your breathing. It's going to help, it's going to help you burn calories, most importantly, in what this video is focusing on. And it's just good for you. It's good for your mental health also. So I highly recommend including cardio into your daily routine. For me personally, I'm doing what right now, which is this is a very common thing. I do 30 minutes of Stairmaster, or not Stairmaster, sorry, 30 minutes of treadmill every day on 12 incline and 3 speed. It's called the 12-3-30 rule. I do it 6 days a week, I do it 4 days a week. I do it after both of or all four of my upper body days in the gym. Um, so yeah, find a way to include cardio into your daily/weekly routine. Let me grab another sip of water right here. Okay, going into the next point that I wrote down is weightlifting. And like the video title suggests, this video is not about weightlifting and building muscle. It's about losing weight, losing fat, right? Becoming healthier. So is weightlifting necessary? No. But what I found, so, let me include 3 pictures up on the screen. One of me really fat, one of me really skinny, and one after I decided to build muscle. What you'll find, after you eventually do, let's say you're someone who just does cardio, right? And you lost weight strictly doing cardio. You're going to want to build muscle after, because then your next thing is, I feel a little skinny, I want to put some muscle on. So my suggestion to people, and this isn't something you have to follow, but I highly suggest is, lifting weights on a regular basis. What I suggest to most people is start with 3 days a week. 3 days a week is very manageable. It's something most people can fit into their schedules, and see how much you can add. I personally lift 6 days a week, but that's probably the most you should do. You should have one rest day every single week, or else your body's going to catch up to you and just shut down eventually. So, I can also make another video on weightlifting if someone wants to, if people are interested, just let me know. But yeah, I highly recommend weightlifting. Hit your different muscle groups, hit your chest, back, shoulders, triceps, biceps, legs, abs if you really want to, forearms if you really want to. But yeah, I think weightlifting is a extremely helpful, useful tool for weight loss. All right, next point I want to get into is what I call the cheating mentality, right? You'll often hear people say, I need a cheat day, right? Like, I need to cheat on my diet. And, to act like you're never going to cheat on your diet is kind of stupid, right? You're going to have cheat days. But, the way I suggest people to look at it more so is, instead of feeling like you're cheating on your diet, if you need to eat in a calorie deficit to lose weight, find a way to include those foods in your diet that makes it easy to lose weight and stay at your calorie deficit. Like, for example, I'm going to use this example a lot, but going back to ice cream, right? Let's say you have 300 calories left, right? Let's say like you're eating at 2,400 calories and you're at 2,100 calories for the day, and you feel pretty full, but you want that sweet treat, you want that dessert. So what I would suggest is going back to food swaps, have a pint of Halo Top ice cream, 300 calories, fits your macros, perfect, right? Works in there. You get some protein in there too. You're gonna be ripping ass all night because of the sugar alcohols, but you found a way to make those less 300 calories work. Or let's say you want some real ice cream. Well, you have 2 options. Either eat 300 calories worth of that ice cream, or maybe 200 calories worth of that real full sugar ice cream and have 100 calories of non-fat plain Greek yogurt with it. What that's going to do is it's going to make you full, from the yogurt. Well, maybe not 100 calories, but it's going to help, right? Like, if you're hungry and you want that sweet treat, have that sweet treat, but fill yourself up too with, good food that's going to make you feel satiated. So you should never have to cheat on your diet. You should enjoy the foods you eat. Either swap that food with something healthier or find a way to include it, So yeah. Next point I want to get into is you're never going to be perfect. No professional bodybuilder, Chris Bumstead or Ronnie Coleman or any of these guys, like, none of them followed their meal plan for 20 years straight and never had a mistake. Like, you're going to have days where you know, for example, me personally, I just went up to my girlfriend's house for Thanksgiving, right? And I forgot my scale. And so, I was there for 3 days. And so instead of telling myself, well, looks like my diet's over, like I'm done dieting and I'm just from here on out, I'm just going to go off the rails. Instead of doing that, what I did was I enjoyed myself a little bit. I went for Thanksgiving. I focused on eating protein, fiber, vegetables, while still enjoying the foods I eat, like those mashed potatoes and mac and cheese and a slice of pie. But I did my best while enjoying myself. And then when I got back home where I could track my calories and weigh my food, I got back on track, right? So the point I'm trying to make is you don't need to be perfect. Weight loss is often not linear. It's gonna fluctuate, but the whole point is consistency and sticking true to the rules you have set in yourself. For which we're gonna go into that a little bit later. Yeah. So going into our next topic is discipline versus motivation. And they're two different things, right? Discipline, in my eyes, is having the ability to follow a set of rules and stick to these rules no matter what, right? No matter how hard the times get going, you stick to these rules, right? Motivation is, well, I feel like sticking to the rules today, so I'll do it. Or, I don't really feel like sticking to the rules today, so I'm not going to do it. So instead of, giving yourself that ability to tell yourself, yeah, I don't really feel like being in a calorie deficit today, like, that's all right, I don't want to do it. Challenge yourself, tell yourself, I made a promise to myself and I respect myself too much to not follow that promise. I told myself I was going to be in a calorie deficit for 2 months, and I'm going to be in a calorie deficit for 2 months. Even though I had to take these 3 days off for Thanksgiving, I'm going right back to my calorie deficit. And that's kind of the idea of discipline versus motivation is, sticking to the rules and, do what you need to do instead of what you feel like doing. Because if I could do what I felt like doing all the time, I'd fucking eat ice cream and brownies every day and sit and play video games and, watch football and do all these other things that I enjoyed doing like all day, every day. But, life's not about like being able to do exactly what you want every single day for most people, unless you got a ton of money and no fucks in the world. But it's about sticking to having a little bit of discipline and doing what you need to. So yeah, going into my next point is have the ability to say no. When your friends say, oh, let's go grab a drink, right? And you say, I maxed on calories for today and I'm already full. Have the ability to say, I'll go with you guys, but I'm gonna get a diet soda. That's totally fine. Or your girlfriend or partner, or your parents, like, oh, we're going out for ice cream. And you're like, damn, I'm already maxed on calories and I'm kind of full, but ice cream sounds good. Have the ability to go out with your family and enjoy that time, but not get ice cream. Maybe have like one taste of it and then like that's it. But like have the ability to say no. Like if you're ever feeling like you're being pressured by someone, tell them, hey, like I really got to stick to this for myself and I'm feeling really pressured by you. Can you just let me not do this? And if they're a normal person and they love you and care about you, most of the time they tell you yes, but they're like, nah, man, you gotta eat this ice cream or else, I'm not your friend. Or, nah, man, you gotta drink this beer or take this shot or else I'm not your friend. That's probably someone who doesn't care about you a whole lot. So yeah, have the ability to say no, especially when it's hard. So yeah, going into my next point is don't be too hard on yourself. Kind of going back to what I was talking about earlier. Weight loss most of the time is not linear. It's not always going to be straight up. It's going to look like this. It's going to go up and down, but you're still going up, right? So don't be too hard on yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Don't get mad at yourself if you're not seeing the results you want to quick enough. You should be mad at yourself if you're not sticking to the rules that you set in place, right? If I'm a month into my cut and I haven't lost as much weight as I wanted to, I'm not going to be mad at myself because I haven't lost that weight or I don't look how I look. I should be mad at myself if I spent 7 days out of the month not sticking to my calorie deficit, right? So don't be too hard on yourself if you don't see the results right away, but on the contrary, do be hard on yourself if you're not doing what you know you need to be doing. Um, and this kind of goes into my next point is surround yourself with like-minded people. Like, I'm someone who just graduated college about 6 months ago, and so college is obviously a lot of partying and drinking and stuff. And while I cherish my friends extremely deeply, from college, I just graduated college, and it's really time for me to kind of like, I don't want to say get my life back on track, but focus on the things that are important. And that's taking care of my health. And if I graduated college and people are telling me like, oh, like you need to come drink with us every weekend and blah blah blah, stuff like that, like it's gonna make it really hard, because you care about those people, and those people are your friends. However, it's like I just can't do that right now. You gotta be able to tell them I can't do that right now, right? I can't like go be doing those habits all the time. I have this goal in my life. This is what I'm focused on. I can't be doing that. So weight loss and exercise and nutrition becomes a lot easier when you surround yourself with people who have the same goals as you, right? If your friends are also into eating healthy, eating clean, exercise, exploring nature, stuff like that, it's going to make it a whole lot easier for you to do those things on a regular basis, because you're doing it with people. It becomes so much more enjoyable, right? But if you hang out with friends who eat like fast food on a daily basis, or sweets on a daily basis, drink alcohol on a daily basis, and you hang out with them on a very consistent basis, there's a really good chance, not saying for sure, but there's a really good chance that you're going to end up doing those things too, and it's going to take you off your goals. So am I telling you to cut off your day ones and those people who do those things are less than you and they're no longer your friends? Absolutely not. But what I am telling you is to maybe, if you feel like you have to, distance yourself just a little bit so you can achieve those goals that you set out for yourself. Like I said, don't cut off your day ones. That's not what I'm saying, but again, this kind of ties back into my earlier point. Have the ability to say no, and surround yourself with those people who help reaching your goals easier. All right, my next point is it goes into meal prepping, and I can make a separate video on this if you guys request it, but I actually meal prep in a different way. I am someone who can't make like 10 little Tupperwares of a certain amount of calories and put them in my fridge and eat those for every meal. It's just not something that works for me. I just can't do it. And that's how most people tell you how to meal prep. And so the way I do it is, what I do is I have this big bowl, right? I have this big bowl with a lid I put on it, and I fill this big bowl with my meal prep, and I weigh it out, right? So, for example, I just made a meal prep, and it's, I'll tell you exactly what it is. 4 pounds of 93.7 ground beef. It's 1 1/3 cup of rice. It's it's 2 2/3 cup of bone broth, a can of chickpeas, a can of corn, and a can of black beans, right? So good, high in protein, high in fiber, a lot of good food in there, right? I'm not trying to go into the food about the video, but so what I do is I cook all that food and I put it in a big bowl, right? Then what I do is I weigh how much the bowl weighs, and I weigh how much the bowl and the food weigh together, and then I subtract the weight of the bowl from the total weight of the food. So I know how much all the food weighs, right? And what I'll do is I'll make a sticky note and I'll write it on the bowl. I'll write, in this big bowl, there's 3,500 calories, right? And it weighs, let's say for the easiness of the video, even though it doesn't always work out like this, let's say it weighs 3,500 calories, and it has 3,500 calories and it weighs 3,500 milliliters, right? So then what I'll do is I'll just portion out like as much food as I think I'm gonna want to eat, kind of going back to that intuitive eating. I'll portion out that food, and then I'll weigh it and I'll see how many calories it ends up being. And what that does is there's going to be days where you're not as hungry, like you may want to eat a little bit, but you don't want to eat like one of your full meal prep containers, like you just can't do it right now. Or like there's going to be days where like damn, I'm really fucking hungry. Like I gotta eat two of these meal prep containers, but then I'm not gonna have one for tomorrow. Um, so what it does, what doing that does, just like making a big bowl of your food and weighing out your portions as you go, it lets you eat more intuitively, and it lets you not feel forced to stick to that certain regime, right? If I want to have a 400 calorie lunch of my meal prep, I can do that. If I want to have a 900 calorie lunch of my meal prep, I can do that, right? So that's something I highly suggest, and I can go into further detail of what exactly I mean by that, because I know it might not make sense fully. But okay, my next point is be smarter when eating out. So this kind of ties into our food swaps, right? But I chose two examples for the sake of the video, and that's Chick-fil-A and Chipotle, right? So when going to Chick-fil-A, instead of saying, I'm going to have a 12 count fried nugget with a large fry and a milkshake, say, I'm going to have a 12 count grilled nugget with a grilled chicken sandwich or like a grilled chicken cool wrap and one of their like side salads, right? So, what that does is it doesn't restrict you from eating out like a lot of these people on the internet will tell you to, because it's just not realistic. Like, you're just never gonna not eat out. Like, it's good to avoid eating out all the time because it's just not the healthiest. It can be healthy, but most of the time it's not. But it lets you go and eat out with your friends or family or partner or whatever, and you can find these like better swaps, right? So like I gave the example for Chick-fil-A, and like going to Chipotle, instead of getting queso and cheese and sour cream and all these things that are really high in calories, maybe focus more on the beans and the meat and the rice and the vegetables, right? And just get a lower calorie bowl. So yeah, just be smarter when eating out. It's gonna help a lot. It's not always super easy to guess exactly how many calories your food is, but a lot of restaurants have on their website calorie calculators for their food, or if not, you can kind of insert your order into ChatGPT, and they'll give you a pretty rough, accurate guess of what your macros are on that food. Okay. My next point is what to do when you're tapped out on calories, right? And this is something you're going to face all the time going through a weight loss journey. So for me, let's say I am eating 2,500 calories, right, a day, and that's my calorie deficit. Let's say it's 7 p.m. I've eaten my 2,400 calories. I just had dinner, and I waited till 8 p.m. and I'm like, fuck, I am still hungry. Like, I still want food, right? I have a few suggestions. Drink a lot of water. That's going to help make you feel full. Maybe have a diet soda or something of the similar. And that's going to kind of trick your brain and tell you, oh, you're having something you enjoy, or you're filling your body with food, but you're not actually, because there's 0 calories. Or let's say you need to, let's say you need food, right? Like, let's say you need to eat. Find a food that is really low in calories and really high in volume. The example I'm going to give you is rice cakes, right? You can eat like 5 rice cakes for like 100 calories. And, let's say you need to go only 100 calories over your calorie deficit, and that's not going to really do much in the long run. It's better to eat those 5 rice cakes and fill yourself up and go 100 calories over your calorie deficit than it is to, binge out and eat, 6 bowls of ice cream and go 2,000 calories over, So it's about making it work. It's not about being perfect. And something else I suggest you to do, and this is something I've been practicing a lot more, and it's actually working quite well, is when you feel that need to binge and you feel that need to eat, right, even though you're maxed on your calorie deficit for the day, take a pause, take a breath, meditate, right? Like, just sit with your thoughts for a minute. Like, okay, I'm hungry and I recognize that and I really want to eat, but I'm going to bed in an hour, right? And I'm going to wake up tomorrow, and the first thing I can do when I wake up is go eat breakfast, right? So, take a moment, take a pause, take a breath, meditate, reflect, like, think about am I really hungry or am I bored, right? Um, like like even though I'm hungry, can I put it off? And if the answer is yes, have the like going back to what I said earlier, have the discipline to say I'm just gonna go to bed and I can eat breakfast in the morning, right? But like I said, if you really need that food, like find a food that is gonna really fill you up, like rice cakes or watermelon or fruit or like salad without like super high calorie dressing. Like find a food that's really gonna make you full. Yeah, go. Okay, so we're nearing the end of the video. I've only got a few points left. Hopefully, it's been helpful thus far. But if you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comments. My next point is keep the mentality of my future self will thank me. There's gonna be a lot of times. Well, let me say this: losing weight's fucking hard. It's really hard, and it's really challenging. And you kind of dug yourself into a hole where it almost seems impossible to get out of. Like, well, I've already gotten this overweight. Might as well just go nuts and get more overweight, right? It almost seems impossible, but it's not. You just have to have the discipline, and you have to hold yourself accountable, and have those around you hold you accountable as well. Um, so, going into my point is keep the mentality of my future self will thank me, right? Let's say I'm 2 months into my cut, right? And I haven't had very many sweets or sugary foods or alcohol or whatever you like, right? Like, let's say your favorite ice cream food is like ice cream, right? And you haven't had the calories to fit in regular ice cream into your diet, right? And so you're like, fuck it, I want to go off the rails. Fuck this diet. I'm tired of this. I don't want to do this anymore. Really kind of pause and reflect and think, why am I doing this? Why am I losing weight? Will eating this ice cream be worth it? Will will it solve my problems, or will it make my deeper problems worse, right? And and have that mentality of my future self will thank me, right? All I got to do is stick to this for 2 more months and my future self will thank me. All I got to do to stick to this for one more year and my future self will thank me. Really keep that mindset. Um, all right. So my next tip is keep busy so you don't eat out of boredom. Um, Most of the time with like food addictions or food binging problems, you're not actually hungry. You're not actually like in need of fuel. Your body isn't in need of fuel. What it's in need of is something to do and or a dopamine response, right? So a lot of the times when people are bored, they'll just go eat a bowl of ice cream because they're bored, and it'll hit them with that quick dopamine. It'll make them feel good, and they'll be like, "Oh, I want more of that, so I'm gonna eat more ice cream." Right? I don't know why I keep using ice cream as my example for this video. I do. Just I know there's tons of other foods out there. Just all right. Anyways, bear with me, but a lot of people don't actually need food. They're just bored and they just want to do something. So, my tip is to keep busy, so you're not eating out of boredom. Um, whether that's schoolwork, going to the gym, going to work, hanging out with your friends, your partner, family, playing video games, playing sports, whatever it may be, keep busy. Find a routine for yourself and find a schedule for yourself. Um, and this is my last tip that I want to give, and this is kind of an optional tip, but it's something I find helpful deeper into my cuts. Not so much at the start when I'm a month or a month and a half in, but when I'm like 4 months into my cut or 3 months in, or at least I was when I was losing a lot of weight. My cuts are a lot shorter now, but the idea of a maintenance day, and what this means is you feel yourself over the days becoming increasingly more hungry, and you're like, every day I'm so hungry and I just can't do this anymore, and I'm 2 months in and I can't do this anymore. What I like to do is once a month, like if I need to, only if I need to, I'll give myself a maintenance day. And what that means is I'll go eat at my maintenance calorie levels instead of in a calorie deficit for like one day a month, right? And that's not going to make me gain weight because I'm eating at my maintenance level. It's going to keep me the same weight if you think about it for that day. But it's going to like give you that feeling you need of, oh, I feel full finally. All right, I can go back on my calorie deficit. So that's not something you have to do. It's something that's optional. But yeah, if you're deeper into your cut, and you feel that, man, I'm just hungry every day, have a maintenance day. Eat at that maintenance level, feel really full and satisfied. Your body probably hasn't ate that much food in a long time, so it's gonna feel extra full. And then get back on track with the calorie deficit. So yeah, so that's kind of the video. This is more so for my friends, and then anyone who stumbles across it on YouTube. Feel free to drop a like or sub, or if you have a question, feel free to comment if you'd like. I also have a Discord, so I'll link my Discord in my bio. If you have questions you want to ask me directly, that's probably the best way to get in contact with me. I also have a fitness Instagram page. I haven't posted on it, I'm not gonna lie, in like 2 years, I think. I don't even know. But if you guys want to follow that, I'll put it on screen and in the bio. I have a Twitter that I don't use if you guys want to follow it, or whatever. And then I stream video games on Twitch every once in a while, so again, I'll have it on the screen in the bio. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, like I've said like 20 times this video already, feel free to ask me in the YouTube comments section, or if you want to reach me better in Discord. So yeah, thanks for watching the video, guys. I hope this was helpful. If you have any other video ideas you think I should focus on, like for example, like you're like, Colin, this video was so helpful, but you didn't focus on food substitutions enough, and you should make a whole video about food substitutions or swaps. Let me know, and I'll go ahead and do that for you guys. So yeah, thanks for watching, and have a great day, have a great night, have a great week, and take care. Thanks, guys.